Good morning, everybody. Happy Friday to everyone. We've got a little bit of music going on in the background. Thank you so much for coming into TLD Cast this morning. I'm really excited to talk about this particular subject, whether or not having your instructional design degree is worth it. And we're going to start off with talking to three L&D professionals that don't have an instructional design degree. And then hopefully we'll be sort of working in folks that do have an instructional design degree, and we can kind of discover what their experience is. So good morning, you guys.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Our good mornings in the green room, but have to do it again. So why don't we go around? Let's start with Bethany. We have just your name, what you do, where you are, and we'll go from there.
My name is Bethany Patterson. I am a global digital design advisor for Costa Coffee here in the UK. I'm originally from Portland, Oregon, but I now live in Scotland in Fife. And I have a degree, but it has nothing to do with instructional design.
That's awesome. Where'd you get your degree?
I got my degree at the University of Edinburgh. Do you want me to say what it's in?
Yes.
My degree is in medical anthropology.
Wow.
Whoa, nice. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm just going to go ahead and log off at this moment. Yeah. That's it. I'm done. Bye, everyone.
It sounds a lot harder than, it was hard, but it sounds worse than it is.
Yeah, that is amazing. In fact, I think that when we first met, I was so fascinated by that because you were really focused on anthropology initially, and you had you were doing L&D work, and it's wow, who is this woman that is
Yeah, I know way too much about disease. That was my kind of area of focus.
Yeah.
I get really excited when people talk about Ebola.
Right. And I think that I remember Mark Elert is someone that I know that has an anthropology degree, and I really wanted to hook you up with that guy. And it's amazing that that there are other people in L&D that kind of have that background.
More than you would think, weirdly enough.
Oh wow. Alan.
Good morning.
Go now. So name, title, where you're at, what your degree is in, if you have one.
All right. My name is Alan Nadachu. I'm a learning experience designer with Madison Area Technical College in Madison, Wisconsin. I'm broadcasting live from OLC Innovate in Denver, Colorado. My degree is in creative writing. I have an AFA and BFA in creative writing from the Institute of American Indian Arts, Santa Fe, New Mexico.
Wow. I love that.
Ooh, that's a mouthful.
That's really, really cool. How's the conference treating you?
Conference is treating me well. I came in with a cold and I'm leaving without it, so that's great. And to everyone who is listening from OLC, I'm sorry if I gave it to you.
That's great. I love that you're broadcasting from outside.
Yeah. The best place for the Wi-Fi. So I had to scope it out, and I sat down. Let me pull up my Instagram, put it in there so you can see the bacon being made, or however that's called.
Awesome. Yeah. Put in your Instagram account link too in the chat if you can. All right, Alex, you're up. Name.
Yes, I don't know. Should I look this way? Hey, all right. Hey, I feel like I'm on the radio. Hey, Alan, how's it going? All right. Yeah, right. All right. Yeah. Hello, everyone. My name is Alex Godinez. I'm a senior member relationship trainer for Travis Credit Union based out of Vacaville, California. And unlike the two that have previously spoken, I do not have a degree, but I'm currently working on one in communication design.
Wow. Where are you going to school?
I'm going to Woodland Community College, which is here in California as well. So I'm originally from the Bay Area, and I'm going to school in a city called Woodland, which is by where I live in Sacramento.
Yeah. What was your title again? Sorry.
It is a senior member relationship trainer. But that encompasses more than just facilitations. I design as well. I do, webinars and face-to-face, design programs, curriculum, all that good stuff.
That's amazing. Okay, cool. I'm just going to throw in, for me, Luis Malbus. I actually do have I have a liberal arts degree and I have an English degree. Neither of which have anything to do with L&D. So I guess I kind of belong with you guys in a way, with this group. So anyway, so let's get to it. So Bethany, medical anthropology, how did this transformation happen? And do you even feel like you need an instructional design degree?
So I got into, outside of doing my master's, clearly doing medical anthropology was really cool, but it's a research-based kind of area. So I would have had to do more school, and I kind of ran out of money, as you do when you spend loads of money on schooling. And then also research has no money in it. So I've worked in a lot of customer service positions. I had to get a job. So I got a job in a fraud department at a bank. And then because of the level of, I had to get used to picking up information quickly. I would do that in a lot of my jobs. And so I would quickly become a trainer, teacher, mentor person to the other people in the department. So I ended up kind of face-to-face training, doing onboarding, first 4 weeks of all of the new staff that came into our fraud department, and then realized as well, I was really good at it. I wasn't going to become a teacher. And it seemed to be a skill that I really should kind of explore, but it wasn't going to happen at the bank. So I started working in instructional design for a small bespoke e-learning company in Scotland who was willing to take me on. And then basically they gave me the space to just learn. So I spent a good year on pretty much the web and used all of kind of what I learned in my degree of research, critical thinking, critical reading, looking into articles and journals, as well as even blogs and talking to people. And I found TLDcast as well, and did all of that and got to a pretty decent level. And then kind of because of my background and wanting to be an academic, I was like, should I look at a degree, what have you? But I would look at all of the learning objectives that would come up for, I don't know, CIPD qualification here in the UK, different degree programs. And I realized I was pretty much teaching myself the same things that they would have taught me. And I was doing it for free to a certain extent. So as long as I could really talk about why and how I was making the decisions I was making in terms of my design and my learning design, then I thought, what, that's kind of what I should focus on. And then I put a little bit of my effort into learning the tech side, because that was the side that I didn't quite know. So yeah. I ended up not paying for that either. I did a lot of free programs that I think were probably for kids, but that's what I did to kind of learn that technical and design side that I didn't have. So yeah. And and now I'm the resident techie at my company.
Oh,
and I shouldn't be.
I know that feeling. What? So and you've talked about imposter syndrome and stuff, right? You've written about it on the TLDC blog, and you've been in TLDcast speaking about it. Does any of that overlap into where you're at now, where that you don't actually have a formal degree in instructional design or any type of learning technology? Does that have an effect on how you look at things?
I think I changed my perspective, and that helped. I kind of talked myself up to myself a little bit more. But it did help going into a company where I wasn't a vendor anymore. So I worked for that was a vendor. So you're in the world of everybody's trying to be better than each other at doing the same thing, because that's what you're selling. Whereas now I'm in an organization where I'm doing the learning function in an organization, a retail for coffee. So outside of our team, there's little to no knowledge. And then even in our team, a lot of them have come from different backgrounds, operational backgrounds, HR backgrounds. So in terms of knowledge about the theories and the and the kind of, let's say, the academic, the beef behind instructional design, I'm one of the more knowledgeable ones. So, I'm trying not to get an ego about it.
Right.
But it kind of changed my perspective that I was being maybe a bit too hard on myself. And then also trying to share where it was that I learned what I have with them.
Wow.
But sometimes the desire is not always there.
Right. Wow, fascinating. So, I mean, would you recommend like your path to anybody else? Like, would you recommend to other people that they, that they get an instructional design degree, or would you say like, your journey was just fine?
It depends on where people are at. I think my journey was just fine, but I think that I was privileged in the way that I had a degree in something. So in terms of that higher level of kind of thinking and of writing and looking at information really critically, being able to extract what was the core message quite quickly, all of that has really served me well in doing this job.
Yeah.
Which a degree in instructional design would help you get there as well. So I think it's super relevant, and then you get the experience as well as learning.
Yeah.
It's a bit more of a fostering environment, and sometimes you get to be around your own people as well.
Yeah.
But we don't always have that ability to have the money to be able to do a degree or not. And so to me, the ability of this community being so open, even outside of TLD cast, learning, everybody wants to try to teach other people how to do what they do, which is pretty awesome. And there's a lot of really great information out there, and it's just about putting the effort in to find it. And then also to read critically and talk to people and see how they get on and see what's good and what's not, because I think there's also a lot of crap out there. But it's just about kind of really getting yourself immersed.
Definitely. So Alan, you your background is really fascinating to me, especially the creative writing thing. And I guess I'm sort of like have sort of a similar experience in a way, having an English degree, and I was more like focused on literature, but I'd like to hear more about like how you got to where you're at. It sounds like a really, really interesting story.
Like I said, I went to the Institute of American Indian Arts, IAIA, and when I was being recruited by that college, it's a United States tribal college. Anyone can go, but its focus is on Native American studies, Native American arts. They said that they had a film program. When I got there, I found out that they had a film program, that the film program had been out for 2 years. So I was like, okay, I'm here. What can I do? So I went into the creative writing degree. And as I was there, I was doing a lot more acting, screenwriting. I was heavy into poetry my first couple of years, but then that kind of faded away as I developed an actor in me. And in my pursuit of my BFA, I started getting into filmmaking. And I helped bring the filmmaking, the digital images program back to IAIA just by being an advocate and participating in everything that I could.
Wow, that's excellent. And so, I mean, do you have any desire at all to look into getting an instructional design degree or certification or anything like that?
I do, just because with my background and with my schooling, I learned how to improvise on my feet. I learned how to, dwell in chaos and be a calm force when everything's just falling apart. And I leverage that a lot in my training. When technology fails, people come to me versus the help desk. I can do training and I could see a program and I could see how it works, but I don't understand how it works. And that's the part which I feel like I'm weakest on, is understanding why we do A to get to D.
Yeah.
I was really bad in that in high school with geometry, when you had to prove those theorems. Start out with the top formula, work your way down, and say the law of each step. I'm like, I don't want to know the law. I just want to work the problem.
Yeah. Yeah, it's fascinating to me because you're just already just a.
I can't hear you. Let me check
Oh.
my thing.
Can you hear me now? Maybe we're getting. Can you guys hear me? Or everybody else? Yeah. Okay. I know that Alan is just an incredible resource, just
My
altogether.
sound went out, so I'm going to try to get back into some sound.
Okay. Well then, and just I want to let everybody know, if you are interested, so we have all these folks that don't have ID degrees on screen now. I need some folks that do have ID degrees or something similar that to bring on in sort of in the second half of the program. So if you're interested in coming on, just type it in chat, and then I'll invite you in as soon as we start to clear everybody out. So Alex, you're in school, you're a student. Oh, shoot. I don't have any audio from you right now.
There we go. I had muted myself because I had little ones talking to me. I apologize for the little ones. They are walking around and.
Don't apologize. Do you actually have a daughter named Aria?
I have. She's one of two. She is a twin. So I have her twin is Ava and her sister is Arya. And yeah, she was named after the character on Game of Thrones.
Okay.
Yes. So when anyone's like, "Oh, I'm a huge Game of Thrones fan," I'm like, "Let me ask you this: did you name one of your children after a character?" Mm-hmm. Yeah. So if it was a boy, his name would have been what is the White King? No, the White Walker. I don't know.
Great.
That would have been his name. Yeah. Between Texas Walker and White Walker, those would be the two names for a boy. So luckily, I have no boys.
Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Right on. So what's your deal? So you work at credit union. Yeah, and you're back in school.
Yeah, absolutely. So I did TLD cast a while ago about me going back to school. So if this is if anybody remembers or it's a repeat, I apologize. But long story short, I kind of accidentally fell in the training. I needed a job. Golden One Credit Union here in Sacramento hired me in their call center. And I went in and had never really been inside of a formal training classroom. And the trainers came in and I was just in awe with them and told myself, I want to be one of them one day. And sure enough, just kind of worked my way up, found an opening in training and just slid right in. As far as the degree is concerned, life got in the way. I went to school for a little bit off and on throughout, my early 20s, even my mid 20s, and just didn't work out. And finally I thought, it was one of those goals that I'd always set for myself and never really accomplished. Meanwhile, I was being successful in the world of training. But it was always one of those things that always nagged at me. And so this is my second semester back to get a degree in communications. And the great part is the company that I work for now, they pretty much pay for it. So
that's great.
Why not? Right. And so, yeah, as far as it being a hindrance, it never really has been a hindrance for me. I've never been asked, do you have a degree, or, it's a shame we can't promote you or move you because you don't have a degree. I've always kind of lived by the credo. If you are, you work hard and are respectful and bring something to the table, if you're good, then good things will happen to you. So I've always been very fortunate that that's been responded to well in my career. As far as the degree itself is more of a personal thing. At this point in my life, I don't think I would need one to continue moving on, but it's a nice to have for me at this point.
Yeah, and that's really relevant. It really is. And that's sort of like, I do have a question for you guys. I mean, if money wasn't an issue, would you guys just go out and get it, and start some type of a program to get a degree in L&D if you didn't have to worry about the money? Is
this an open question to us?
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
So it is kind of a money thing, because would you think that actually getting a degree that you would make more money, and does that factor into your decision?
A little bit, but it's more knowledge for me. Who am I kidding? Yeah, it'll be for a promotion.
I believe them for a moment there too. He's so noble. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
No, because I want to learn how to scale and make bigger. So that's another weakness of mine. I could work in small groups. I could go to classroom size, but I want to move beyond that, and I want to know the theory of doing that.
Right. So, and you're at which college? It's in Madison, right? It's in Wisconsin.
Yeah. It's a 2-year community college in Madison, Wisconsin.
Do you plan on just staying in kind of higher ed, or would you branch out into corporate?
I might branch out to corporate, but right now I'm having a lot of fun. So to make that jump, I would have to give up a lot of toys and a lot of, we shouldn't call them toys, but we are investigating AR and VR in the classroom, playing with 360 video, trying to incorporate that into the classroom, using WebEx Teams to, my presentation today is is about EMS students who have an 1.5-hour drive to our school and back. These are working professionals. So 3 hours on the road for a 4-hour class when they've already worked an 8-hour day, how we save them time and resources by allowing them to attend class via WebEx Teams.
Yeah.
And people were afraid of online learning, being all PowerPoints and being just straight up text. But by incorporating WebEx Teams, we were able to save those students money, time, and they were able to get the full classroom experience.
Right. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. So, I mean, Alex, along those
I'm a huge generalist, so I love my hands are in everything. I love what I do.
Yeah. No, I think I'm kind of similar to you in that way. I just love to get into everything. And so, Alex, I was wondering, with what you're doing right now, do you think that you're going to have an immediate impact on your organization with getting a degree?
I'm not sure. There may be some aspects that I learn in the college and the higher learning setting, but I think a lot of it's just been on the job learning and, joining forums like this and stuff on social media and, receiving newsletter and just looking into things. You can learn quite a bit just using your resources, right? The internet can be a horrible, cynical place, but it can also be a very enlightening and, you can learn so much from it if you put the work in. So I don't know so much that I'll come in to HR, slam my degree down on the table, and they'll be like, you get a raise. But I do think it'll help kind of me personally, which I think will then I'll carry my head a little bit higher maybe around the office, and that in turn will relate to confidence in what I do. And, I have the backing of being able to maybe speak up when before maybe I wasn't able to, because I'm like, who am I? That imposter syndrome. I don't have a degree like these people. Why should I say something? But now I can, feel like I have a seat at the table. And again, not that anyone at work or my organization, if they're watching, has made me feel like I don't have a seat at the table. This is just my own personal thing.
Right.
I still need a job.
And before I forget, if you're looking to be a senior training manager at a credit union, we've got an opening at
yeah.
So check it out. I get the commission though.
We'll split it.
So Bethany, how about do you think that in the future you're gonna to maximize your impact, or to just for any type of professional development? Are you looking all into doing anything else, certifications or anything? Are you good?
For right now, I think I'm good. I think it depends on what organization you work for and what kind of area. So when you're in academics, I think degrees are definitely, required. And part of that is because, academia loves the hierarchy of, well, I have 5 degrees and you have 7, so you have something to say more than me, whereas in business, it's all about kind of, can you impact results? And what results are you impacting? So for me right now, I have to prove that I have to basically prove that all of the theory actually creates kind of measurable business results. And so for me, it's all about experience and doing projects and making it happen, and then being able to speak the same language. So I think if anything, I would expect people kind of in that corporate realm to do maybe a degree that has more relevance to a business base. So a comms degree, maybe. So maybe some marketing, maybe some actual business kind of partnering, business solutions type of degree, because then you're speaking to that business in the way that they want to be spoken to and really can impact with whatever you kind of create in learning. However,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I'm just saying, however, it's not required. It was just, it's something that I think could help widen the scope of what you can do.
So I'll go for last question, because then I will switch over to some people that actually do have instructional design degrees, hopefully. And but so Bethany, most useful thing that you have from your education right now that you use in L&D? Is there anything specific that that you can throw out there that you think makes you a little more maybe unique than other people? Possibly. I know I probably should have asked you this question earlier, but because it's kind of a tough one, maybe.
Being able to quickly identify if what I'm reading, what level of, I guess, correctness, or what level of if information I'm reading, and how relevant it is or not to what I'm thinking or what I need to prove or what have you. Kind of a lot of those research-based skills that you have to do as of writing projects is really, really helpful in terms of a kind of being able to read and do some CPD, so that I know that I'm reading, what I'm reading is worthwhile. And then also so that I can also read content that people give me and really drill down to what's needed.
Awesome. Okay. Just for my own observation, I always thought, like, I think that it felt like you always displayed a great deal of empathy too. And I don't know if you had gotten that from medical anthropology, but that's the sense that I'd gotten. But I've known you for a little while, so. Yeah,
I think I chose medical anthropology because that's kind of how I am.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was doing hard science. I was doing biochem before, and it was a little too not empathetic for me. I wanted to know the people behind it.
Yeah. Yeah. How about you, Alan? If hopefully your audio is working, but from creative writing and just your background, like what have you been able to bring to L&D with all of that?
Let's see. That's a good question, because there is a lot. Working in video, working in filmmaking, you have to improvise a lot, and that's something that I really, really learned. I'm a real good MacGyver when it comes to L&D tools. I also have an eye for a little bit of flair and a little bit of design, and I have a vision of how to see how something should start and how something should end, which is, sometimes is hard for people to do. People storyboard to do that. I do some storyboarding, but a lot of it comes just from seeing it in my head from start to finish after years of filmmaking and years of video making.
Yeah.
And yeah, don't see a movie with me.
Yeah. No, I have a friend who's a filmmaker, and he's fantastic as a on video, like just storyboarding, like e-learning events, and I totally see how that helps him, and he has no background whatsoever in L&D for sure.
But the outside of school, what really helped me in L&D was my 10 years in retail. I have 10 Black Fridays under my belt. I've worked with Apple in the Apple Store during those times as well, and just being that calm in that storm has really helped me be empathetic to people.
Wow.
And that's what my degree really helped me out. I went to an art school, and when it came time to reviews, I got tore apart. My first review, it was so bad that I went to my dorm and cried and thought I should not be here. So I'm like, I'm not gonna do that to other people, but that did help me develop a thick skin to that kind of professional criticism.
Yeah. Wow. I wish I need to like timestamp that, because it's really fascinating to me. And let me just ask, because I want to get to the other folks. So Alex, like, are you bringing anything over to the credit union now with your current studies? Anything that is impacting the org?
Yeah, there's actually it doesn't have to do so much with the curriculum more than the instructors themselves. Just in the brief time that I've been there, I've had one really good professor that I've actually taken stuff from, and one really bad professor that I've actually known that's not what I want to do, and I want to be careful that I don't become that guy in class. So there's been some practical stuff that's come over, not so much in the scholarly lane, but at this point, a lot of practical stuff. And like, God, I really don't want to be that guy. And you kind of judge yourself and like, I hope I'm not that guy. Do I do anything similar like him? And you try to avoid things like that. So that's what I've been able to bring. And the first professor I had when I went back was really, really good at what he did. And there are some style and some tips and tricks that I was able to capture from him just by observing him. So I go in to school with a different mindset than I would have, even 10 years ago.
Right. Mm-hmm. Awesome. Okay. Well, now I think I'd like to, switch over to some other folks, but if you guys can just hang out, I will, I have to actually do the switch over. I did want to point out, there was something that passed by on chat that Tracy Cantu had said, I love my education because I love what I was studying, but did I need it to do what I do? No, my certifications have made the difference. And I think that's relevant. And there was some other talk about just building out a portfolio. I don't know if Anne had mentioned it or something. I saw that in multiple places, but I think that's really, really relevant. So let's see. Let me go ahead.
That's how I improved what I learned in the digital realm as I started building out my own portfolio.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And then writing about what I was learning and how I was learning it.
Awesome. Okay. So let's see. It looks like I can invite on Kara, because I saw that she had wanted to come on. And if you guys can, anybody else that wants to come on, just post it now because I may have passed it by. But I'm gonna invite Kara in as soon as somebody leaves, and I think Christina Archer too, if that's who was in Slack was interested in going in. So we're gonna say bye to Bethany. Thank you so much, Bethany. Let's catch up soon.
Mm-hmm. And I think Chris also said he can jump on there. I just saw in the chat too. So.
Okay, so I'm going to invite Kara in. Yes. Okay, Kara has been invited. And then let's see. Do either of you guys want to bounce out for now?
Either one is fine.
Yeah, I need to bounce out. I got to go to my next session. So.
All right, Alan. Thank you so much. And I'm looking forward to talking again. Yeah, and by the way, Alan is going to have like a monthly, he's a producer for TLD Cast too. So I'm looking forward to seeing what Alan does in his broadcast, which is happening in a couple weeks. Thanks, Alan.
All right.
Okay, so I invited Kara. Let's see, and you said Chris, and
you're stuck with me for now. But hey, what the heck? It's better to.
I love your face. I love your. Let's see, and
see what not having a degree gets you. You're the last one standing on TLD Cast.
Be warned.
Yes, school is for suckers, as we used to say in the streets.
Used to say
look at that. Yeah, look at me. Started from the bottom. Now we're here, right?
So looks like Kara, she rejected it.
All right.
Will be in her meeting.
I think I had something to do with that. I apologize for
Christina said
bringing the cast down. Yeah.
Christina, it's incompatible, so you might be on the wrong kind of browser. So if you can move to Chrome if possible. And then was it Chris Stadler, Alex, that you saw?
Yes, I believe so.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Find Chris and we'll get him. Oh, there's Kara.
Hey, there's Kara.
Let me add Chris and let's see if we can get him on. How are you, Kara?
I am good. I actually timely topic. I took today off because I have too much schoolwork.
Imagine that. Yeah, this is really fun. It's kind of more of like this kind of came together within the last 48 hours, but it's something that I was thinking about a lot because my work. Oops, I'm getting an echo. Let me see. But let's just start with you and just go through for anybody that doesn't know Kara, name, what your job title is, where you're at, and what your degree is in. Oops, and she's blinking in and out there. There you are.
Okay. Can you hear me now? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So hi, I'm Kara North. I'm a learning experience designer at the Ohio State University. In June, I'll be here for 6 years. And one things that I do in addition to doing that kind of work is I'm also a PhD student in learning technologies, and I should be doing candidacy next spring, praise God, and then hope to do dissertation next year. So I'm hoping to be done by December of next year.
Wow. Geez. 6 years. So 6 years at the Ohio State University?
Yeah, it's flown by. Golly, like I can't believe how quickly it's went by.
Yeah. Wow. So, and I think that anybody that follows Kara on Twitter or has been a regular on TLDcast. Hi, Chris. Nice to see you.
Hey, good to see you guys.
Probably knows that she's probably one of the busiest people like in your network. Just totally grinding all the time. And so, Chris, why don't we go to you? Just who you are. You've never been on a TLDcast before. I know that we've communicated online in the past. Thank you so much for the message, and just tell us who you are, your title, and where you're at.
Sure. So what's the talk radio thing? Long-time listener, first-time caller. So
Yeah.
long time listener and first-time caller. So I'm so excited to be here. I am Chris Stadler. Just got a promotion recently. So what is my title now? Director of Learning and Development with a focus on instructional technology. I'm with a biomedical firm here in Marietta, Georgia. Hence the accent. Obviously not Canadian or something like that. Got a little bit of twang in there. But that's pretty much me.
Wow. Okay. Marietta, Georgia. That is amazing. So, and your degree is in?
So undergrad is in computer science, and my master's is in instructional technology and design.
Uh-huh. Wow. And where did you get that degree?
At Columbus State University in Columbus, Georgia. So, not the Ohio one. I get that a lot. They're like, "Oh, really? You went to Ohio?" Sorry.
That's amazing. So, okay. So let's I'm just going to go back to Kara here really quick. So how has your degree helped you as an L&D professional? And I know like right now you call it like, what is it? I think you're a learning experience designer, or what was the learning technologies person, or I forget what I saw on LinkedIn, but
yeah, it's learning designer, learning experience designer, whatever the flavor of the month is. But I mean, we all have the same titles at Ohio State. It's like instructional development specialist, but then like you have a little fun with your working title, but they wouldn't let me do Grand Poobah of Candyland, which I'm still a little bitter about. But as far as like how my degree has helped me, it's kind of a loaded question, I think, but I will say that I think for the most part, it's kind of opened possibilities that I hadn't really thought about. So a great example of this is I have a professor that is really big into algorithmic ethics, and it's something that I hadn't really thought a whole lot about. But as we're doing more with like learning analytics and learning management systems and who owns data, is it the LMS company, is it the company that purchased it, that kind of stuff. It's something I'm really interested in, and something I never really thought I would have been interested in. And a side note, at Learning Solutions last week, I had a presentation with Sean Hickey about assessment best practices. And another way that kind of my degree has helped me is I used to work at the Ohio State University for a psychometrician. So I did that for about 2.5 years, and that really helped me be a better instructional designer. And I don't think I would have had that experience had I not been going here to school and working for him. So now I know a whole lot more about assessment than I probably ever wanted to know, but it's really kind of helped me think about the way that we write questions and the way that we assess our learners a little bit more effectively. So again, end game, I don't know what that looks like for me. It changes every single day, but yeah, it's getting a PhD is not fun, guys. I'll just tell you that right now. It's not a good time.
Right. Well, Sorry to back up, but what did you say about you worked 2 years for what was that again? I for some reason I thought you said psycho assessment person.
Yeah, so the project I used to work on here at the Ohio State University, the director was a psychometrician. So basically, he has that industrial organization psychology background where he goes through like the validity and reliability of test questions. And I just learned so much working from him, and that's what was so special about our Learning Solutions presentation and our award-winning now e-learning game that we built, is that we were able to take that content from this like brilliant mind and make it a little bit more relatable for subject matter experts and then learning designers. So that was just like icing on the cake.
So I mean, you were just kind of critical of, the PhD and just how tough it is. But I mean, honestly, like, how do you feel about it overall? Are you glad you're going through it? Do you feel it's necessary? Like, what's the deal?
I think that if you don't have a background in like a learning theory, or you just completely fell into it, know nothing about it, you kind of grew up kind of in the streets of L&D, as I like to say. That's how I got into L&Ds, through the call center streets. It's helpful to get that background knowledge, but a PhD is a research degree. And one thing that I've struggled with throughout this process is I feel very comfortable as a practitioner. Obviously, I think we all kind of do. I do not feel comfortable as a scholar, and I don't know if I'll ever truly feel comfortable as a scholar, but I can appreciate research and scholarship more than I could before I started the program. But yet I still think that they say, bridging research to practice is just a sexy title, a lot of them say, but many of the professors, no offense, haven't actually been instructional designers. They haven't actually went through and built something, and it just drives me up the wall. And they really do need to think about how to actually relate some of this research that they're doing to the actual point of it. At least that's my opinion, please. It's not endorsed by anybody. That's just my personal opinion.
No, and I've heard that before. I've definitely heard that before. So, Chris, like, let's hear about your journey. Sounds like you are a veteran professional and established. And let's hear about why you went after it.
So I came out with my undergrad right around the end of the dot-com bust. So it was great when I started my computer science degree. I mean, they were plucking juniors out of school and giving them six-figure jobs and whisking them off to Washington to go work for Microsoft and all of that. By the time I graduated, which I'm not going to say it took like 6 years or anything, I went through the program, it was the complete opposite, and you couldn't find a job programming to save your life. So what's interesting is, lucky for me, is I took a co-op job in my senior year, and it was pitched to me through the school as, we've got a big data migration that has to happen. We need someone's experience with massaging data and SQL Server queries and all of this like geeky computer science stuff. And what I didn't realize is when I got there they were implementing an LMS, and they were pulling from different data sources and trying to get a learning management system up and running. And I was actually working for a local government with the public safety department. So it was like sheriff and police and fire and EMS. So there was like a lot of regulations, a lot of training around that and stuff that you had to keep up with. So I got in there, played the geek part well. And then the other thing that I found out, they found out, is that you'd come to Chris, and Chris had answers on all of these different technical things. So I always say, what is it? You can tell if your IT person is introverted or extroverted based on whether he's looking at your shoes or his own shoes. So somehow I ended up being the guy who looked at your shoes. So I had just enough people skills that I could relate. And suddenly I was kind of like the go-to person for all of these different questions. And, what if we did this and we did that? And I somehow ended up parlayed that into a technical trainer job when I graduated. They hired me on. They said, "Hey, look, we've got all of these different departments that would benefit from this," and I started doing that. I love that part. I'm a hardcore introvert though, so it like really drained me. So I just said I was an extrovert, but it was draining to do that. I enjoyed my time running PC labs and teaching and stuff like that. But what I really realized is this is around the same time as e-learning was starting to really pick up. You know, I did authorware and burning CD-ROMs and sending them out and stuff like that.
When would you say that was? Like around 2000,
2003, 2004, somewhere in there. So what I was starting to see was this is where it's going. And I knew that with my background of the programming and the web design and database development and stuff like that, that, hey, I am uniquely positioned to help myself and help others get to where I think we could go. The challenge is I was just the trainer. So, you know, I wanted to get something that gave me a little bit of credibility, but then also some exposure to the instructional side of things. And I think what Kara just talked about was huge is the knowledge of the educational theories and things of that nature, because what was happening is I was designing for myself. So I think that that's the classic newbie mistake is you teach the way you learn. You design for the way that you want to learn or you saw someone else do that. And without having some of that fundamentals, it really opened my eyes. And I think as Alex said, you know, you don't want to be the guy who's, you know, saying one thing and doing another. I realized, like, you know, through like my very first class in grad school, I was like, oh, phooey. I thought I've been good. My smile sheet said I was good. And man, I have really done a disservice for some of these folks. And it was really eye-opening. So, I mean, that was super helpful for me to do that. And then moving through there, I just got exposure to a lot of the technology, a lot of the educational things behind that. And then it really opened up my eyes to just kind of all of the stuff that's around that. And I started reading, you know, the big names, the things of that nature, and immersed myself in all of that. And I think that more than anything has helped make me a better designer and learning person.
Wow. Okay. Any regrets at all? Would you choose a different path in any way?
No, I don't know. I mean, it's certainly not what 20-year-old version of Chris thought he was going to be doing, but I have enjoyed all of this because at the end of the day, I mean, computer science and what we do as instruction, as learning people is not that different. We solve problems, right? I mean, all we're about is solving problems and helping something else do something. So what I always tell people is I'm still programming. The difference in C# or VB.net or Java or whatever obscure tools there are now, Ruby on Rails. I'm doing it in English. You know, it's human language. And so, you know, all of these, it's not that different. It's what is a performance problem, break it down to the smallest element that I can solve for, and then let's solve for that. You know, micro learning, it's huge in our thing right now. That's like the smallest piece of instruction that you would solve for if we were talking about a computer science thing.
Right. It's really interesting. Yeah, and I love how you're kind of experienced because, you know, like I'm sort of, I guess, around the same age, so I can see how, you know, just all of that work and also knowing like Joe Ganci I've known Joe for years and years. So same kind of parallel. Now, this is kind of an interesting thing, and I'm glad that Alex is still in the window because what I'm thinking is like, can you give him any advice as he's going through like what he's doing right now? He's trying to get that degree and like soon to be a superstar instructional designer at Travis Credit Union. Anything that you could give him? We've got like about 7 minutes left.
Absorb as much as you can. I mean, what you don't think you realize that you'll need today, you may want to know and learn later. So just get the exposure and see what works, see what doesn't work. and take that back to work.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and apparently, according to the chat, I also need to learn how to cheer up. I have I have an amazing poker face, apparently. But yeah, no, it is truly about absorbing as much as I can, right? And that's I think that's what also makes us want to be teachers, in a sense, to put it bluntly, is that we love learning and we want everyone to love learning. And I think that's why we do what we do, because we always try and absorb everything. And those who don't are the ones that don't tend to be as successful or get really cynical about the job, right? We all gripe here and there, and that's perfectly normal, I think. But those who get really cynical and downtrodden on it is because they don't have that love of learning that they want to go ahead and introduce to someone else.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Totally. Gary, you got any words of wisdom for Mr. Godinez there?
Yeah, I think the big one, and I talk to Alex every once in a while about his journey, and he's such an inspiration, I think, to other people that are been kind of scared to go through this journey. So I appreciate his authenticity about sharing his what he's going through. But I think the big one is just to be humble. We're all learners. We all want to continue to grow and learn and hopefully get better. Staying humble is so important. And Jack is here, so she's going to be pushing on me here in a bit. But I was just surprised because there were a couple like learning superstars that I got to meet last week that I was like so excited to meet, and they weren't very nice people. And I was really kind of taken back by it, and I was like, gosh, am I that scary? Yeah, probably. But I was like, just stay humble. Like, I mean, we're all people. We're all trying to make the world a better place, hopefully. And even when I'm done with this PhD, I'm still just going to be Kara. Like, I mean, it's just a start. It's just a piece of paper. It doesn't mean that I'm better than anybody else. It doesn't mean that I have something better than somebody else. It just means that I completed something, a self journey that I did for learning to be better. So, but Alex, you're a very humble person, so I don't need to tell you that anyway. But just stay humble, keep learning, and then keep giving back to others, because that's obviously how you grow as well. As if you give other people your time and talents, they can help you further down the road. Just like what Chris said, I loved his point about even if you don't need it now, you might need it later. Same with your connections. If you're, might not need somebody now, you might need them later down the road.
Yeah.
Great
School. Also, just one last thing, school's a great place to make mistakes. So, when you start building learning solutions in the public arena, mistakes aren't tolerated as much. So take risks, do the cool stuff that you want to do. Those are easy in school because nobody's going to push back on that. Most companies that I've worked for are going to push back on, the budget for an AR or a VR solution. There's a need out there, but we're not going to be able to roll that out to the size of people we have. Do that stuff while you're in school because you can play with so much stuff. Just get out there and play with it. And then the cool thing is one day you can say, "Oh yeah, I did that," or "Yeah, I've had exposure to that."
No, that's great. That's awesome. That's an awesome tip. I love that. Okay, so I'm gonna wrap it here. Just a quick hit with you guys. And I just want to start with Alex. Where do you you're going to school now, but where else do you get any resources to get information to help with your development?
Yeah. First, let me say what a privilege it is being on screen with all of you. And this is just a testament to, it doesn't matter what paper you have, like Kara said, what certificate you have, hard work, being nice, being humble will get you to places that a certificate itself won't get you. So you can have all the scholarly accolades, but just be a decent person to each other and help each other out. And look where I popped up, right? I have someone who's a leader in their training department, another one who's going for their doctorate, and another gentleman who's a pioneer with TLDcast. And here I am taking up a quarter of the screen, right? So it's really awesome to be a part of this. But as far as, I'm sorry, I totally forgot the question. I wanted to make sure I gave you guys your kudos.
Just some quick, where do you get your
other resources? The interwebs where all the kids go today, networking and, programs like this, just absorbing as much information as I can, taking what I like, trying what I don't, and, seeing where it takes me.
Nice. All right. How about you, Chris? Got anything for us? Where do you go?
I read a lot. And I think more than anything right now, I'm reading less on the learning side of things. I'm reading more on the business and some of the things like UI, UX. I still have I like to keep a little dirt under my fingernails when it regards to the computer science stuff and learning things about the human factors and AI and machine learning and things of that nature. I'm no AI expert. I'm not going to program, Skynet or anything like that, but knowing what's out there and knowing what's possible, I think really helps shape, what you can do today, but you can also start looking a jump or two ahead. So it's just really cool. And I love that. Still love the learning stuff. TLDC is great. There's some authors that, they publish something. I'm going to pick up their book no matter what. But yeah, now more than anything, I feel like I spend more time reading the business and the technical.
Excellent. Kara, you're going to get the last word.
Oh, Twitter and LinkedIn are my jams. Mostly Twitter, but I love the fact I can ask a question and get somebody on my super awesome network to answer it in 5 minutes or less if I ever feel stuck. So yeah, I'm all about kind of that collaboration and that brain trust. There's a lot of smart people out there, very generous of their time, and I appreciate all of them, and I hope that I'm able to provide them value one day.
Awesome. Oh, this is wonderful. You guys, I can't thank you enough for being on. It was so great to see all of you. It was great to meet you, Chris. Thank you so much for coming on today. I really appreciate your time. Grateful for all the guests that have come in today. And next week, I'm going to be off all week, so who knows what's going to happen. I know we have another pop-up for Friday, but Toddy is going to be on Tuesday, and I believe Sonia Farini from GoVLC is going to be on Thursday. So next week we should have some great programming. I'm going to do a blog post on this one, so I'll pass that out when it's ready. But thank you, everybody, and we'll see you next time.
All right, thanks, guys. This was amazing.
Bye, guys.